Hello and welcome to episode 12 of the Creabea Knitting Podcast. Hi and welcome, my name is Rebecca, I'm a crafter based in Edinburgh, and this is a vlog or a podcast all about knitting, what I'm currently knitting on, what I'd like to be knitting on. How does it go? What I've been knitting on, what I'd like to be, I don't know. It's about knitting. I've lost my intro mojo this morning. I've tried to start a few times and now it's just not coming out normally anymore. This is a podcast about knitting. If you're new, hello and welcome. It's great to spend some time with you. And if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. It's also great to spend some time with you. Goodness, I'm out of practice. I sat down to film and realised I'd forgotten something, and then I started to film again and my boyfriend went in the shower and then I could only hear the noise of the shower, so it's the third time I'm sitting down and hopefully this time makes sense. I have a lot to talk about today. I've got a couple of finished objects, so many works in progress and quite a bit of acquisitions. If I had to give today's episode a title, it would be Rebecca has lost all self-control, because all I'm doing is casting on projects, ordering yarn and setting out for test knits. That's all I've done for the past 2 weeks. There's also like dust floating around. I keep seeing it in the camera. Sorry, I'm gonna stop getting distracted. Before I start the knitting, I wanted to talk about the fact that 2 months ago I said I would not be buying yarn for 2 months. And I think we all know that to be wildly incorrect, because I did buy yarn. I will say that I think I was kind of restrained. So mostly I just bought yarn, like mohair to go with yarn and stash. I bought yarn at Unravel because it happens once a year, so I had to buy yarn. And I bought 2 skeins of Sock Club sock yarn, and the second one hasn't even arrived yet. But yeah, I bought yarn. And as soon as the end of February hit, I then bought a lot more yarn. So yeah, I think I learned that telling myself not to buy yarn doesn't work. I had a goal that if I didn't buy yarn for 2 months, then at the end of February, I would treat myself as a reward with some ChiaoGoo interchangeable needles, like a set. And for full transparency, because I didn't hit my goal, I'm not getting myself needles, just in case anyone was wondering. Because yeah, I bought yarn. I was thinking, instead of trying to incentivize myself to not buy yarn, I could just reward myself with the needles at the next big podcast subscriber milestone. So I was thinking maybe, and it's still a little while away, I think, like we're still miles away. The next big milestone will be 10k. But I thought that if and when the podcast hits 10k subscribers, I could buy myself a set of ChiaoGoo needles and I could do a giveaway for a set. And then I'll feel not guilty at all. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But as I said, ages away. If you think it's a good idea, subscribe. Or like this video, so then people see it who haven't seen it before, and then they subscribe, and then I can buy some ChiaoGoos without feeling guilty. But yeah, I thought I'd be transparent in case anyone was sitting there thinking, she said she wasn't going to buy any yarn. I did say that, but I'm also not getting the reward because I broke my promise to myself. So let's jump into knitting. I can start with what I'm wearing because I'm wearing some knitting. This is my Stockholm sweater. Stockholm pullover? Stockholm sweater by Petite Knit. It is a pretty simple drop shoulder construction. You knit the back panel and then you join here and then you knit to below the arms and then you just knit the rest. I could pop a picture of it finished here. I'm still filming on the iPad because I've not taken my camera to get fixed. I think it was okay quality last time, like it's not perfect, but it's not bad. I'm better film on lower quality than not film at all. This is knit up in 1 strand of Drops Alpaca in the colorway, in the rust colorway, rust mix, and 1 strand of Sandnesgarn Tilia, also in the rust colorway, and it's like a 21 stitch gauge, I think, so like a fingering, a deep fingering, and a mohair for a DK gauge. And I finished this and I was not in love with it. I don't know why. I was really excited about it, knitting it up. I finished it and I was like, don't know, not sure. And then the last week I've worn it so much. So I think it's turned the corner from like the funny stage to actually in my wardrobe. There are a couple of things I don't like about it, and they're minor. The first one is, I don't know if you can tell, but this drop shoulder is done fine. Like it's nice and even here, it's nice and straight. This one, there are short rows and I just think I've like done something funny there. And so all I can see is like, boop. So silly. But whenever I like put it on and look in the mirror, I'm like, there's that short row. I think it would block out. I probably should just block it again because it would go. It's fractionally annoying. The second thing is that it feels kind of baggy. I would definitely size down if I was making this again. I made I think the third size, which is maybe even the second size, of finished bust 113 centimeters, which gave me 13 centimeters of positive ease, which is still less than the pattern recommends, but Petite Knit always recommends like 20 centimeters, which I don't think suits me. So I downsized, but I would downsize again. Because yeah, it's just like there's a lot of fabric, the arms are pretty loose, and I think it would maybe look a bit more like elegant if it was a bit more fitted. And the third thing is the neckline, which now is sitting fine. And I think this is why I now, this is why I now like it when I didn't when I first finished it. The neckline is a really deep neck and it's like folded over neck. And because it's alpaca and mohair, it doesn't not have any structural integrity. And so the pattern tells you to add elastic to the neckline. And it's just like a one line, add elastic to the neckline. And I'm like, what does that mean? So I did a lot of trial and error, and this is what worked. I will say I took elastic out, I cut it out, I tried with no elastic. The no elastic, the neckline just grew. So I put the elastic in and I'm really happy with it now. There are two bits of elastic. The first is that on this seam, before I folded it over, I crocheted shirring elastic in, like right along the seam, and then I fold it over and like you can't see it, like there's no proof of it being there, but it's there. I know, now you know, it's a secret. And the second thing I did is I put shirring elastic also through here. I really like shirring elastic, it's super stretchy and it has good recovery, but it's not like, there's pretty much no resistance, like it stretches really readily, and I think that worked really well. And I just like, there's obviously like, this is 2 layers of fabric, so I just put, like I just threaded it through there, tied it, and like tucked the knot back in somewhere in the back, and it's working really well for me. And now like it's sitting pretty much at the base of my neck as opposed to where it was before when it was up here, and I think it's pretty cute. So I wore this to knit night on Monday, and I wore it at the weekend with like a longer, like a midi length black skirt, and I thought I looked really chic, and now I like it. So now you get to see it too. I have some mohair that I don't love that I might knit up into this at some point in the future. Like I'm currently thinking that would be the next time I make this pattern. But as you will see, I have enough projects to last me for 3 months and enough new yarn purchased to last me for 3 months, more after that 3 months. So I won't be casting on anytime soon. But yeah, that's it. I'm wearing it next to skin. It's a tiny little bit scratchy. I think the tilia is a little bit scratchy. It is silk, mohair and wool, and I feel like that 15% wool makes it much scratchier to me than other mohairs. But that's reminded me that I mentioned a few episodes ago that Sophie, who is the Knit Pearl Girl on Instagram and on YouTube, bought every mohair available on the UK market and compared them, and she has just put up a video. I think it's online. If it's not online, it's going online very soon. So I will link her below, where she does a mohair comparison. And I can't wait. I've not watched it yet. I can't wait to watch it. I'm so excited. I have some of my own favourite mohairs. I'm excited to see where they chalk up. And I think she's done like a full, I know there's a blog post coming at some point, but the video is like in the meantime. And she talks about like the price and the yardage and the colours and what it feels like. And I think she's done a load of swatching. So yeah. I can't believe how much I'm rambling already, but I will include the link to that below. And I'll have to say, it's a tiny little bit scratchy, but it's not bothering me. I'm a little bit aware of it, if that makes sense. So, There we go. Finished objects. Now, 10 minutes in, we can start the podcast. So last time I was like, this feels really weird because I don't have a sweater to show. Because I feel like I almost always have a sweater, but I've remedied that because I do have a sweater. And I will say, the first time I sat down to record, I forgot the sweater. So I went to get it and I picked it up off my bedroom floor. So it's a little bit creased because I'm a real adult and sometimes I don't put my clothes away for a day or two. So this is my no frills sweater. And again, I can put a picture in of it mostly finished. I don't think I've taken a picture of it finished completely, but that was it before it was getting its second sleeve. You can see it's this like beautiful silvery grey colour and I love it. I really, really, really love it. I love this pattern. This is the third one I've made. I made it a much smaller size. I think I make it in the second size. I make it with 108 centimetres finished bust. I remember that because I measured my second one to pick the size for my third one. Again, like Petite Knit always does, 20 centimetres positive ease. I don't need it, I don't want it, I size down. I will say, I've been knitting this, I knit this pattern, like I had a pattern for a while now, maybe 6-8 months. Petite Knit has most of her patterns run up to a 5XL, so like nine sizes, from an extra small to a 5X. This one doesn't, which I find so obscure because this is by far the most straightforward construction, and this only runs up to a 3XL, which I think is a 51 centimetre bust, 51 inch bust. Sorry, I'm jumping between imperial and metric here, apologies. So yeah, I find that really odd. There are definitely more inclusive raglan patterns out there. And also there are calculators where you can just go and calculate your raglan sweater. But I own the pattern, I have it already and I know it fits, so I will keep using it because I will. So yeah, this is my version. I used to, like when I first got into the knitting community, I did not work out. People would say, oh, I never wear things, like I'm wearing this, but I've not woven the ends. And I'd be like, how do you do that? Like, how is that possible? I have like a whole like semi-hole in the sleeve where I've just not woven in the ends yet. They're just loose. It's just loose threads. I've worn this like 3 times. So yeah, I'm not a bad knitter, we all do it. I'm a changed woman, that's what I am, I'm a changed woman. So I love this, as I said. The yarn, I went and got the ball of yarn because I got a whole ball left. So this is, I don't know if this is reversed on the iPad or not. I'm not sure. This is what it is. It is the Rico design Superba Alpaca luxury sock, DK weight, 310 meters per 100 grams, 62% virgin wool, 23% polyamide and 15% alpaca, and it is a sock yarn. And I picked up a skein, maybe this exact skein, I'm not sure. I picked up a skein in Cambridge at the end of last year and I brought it home with me and I just loved it. Like, it is the perfect colour of grey. It's quite fuzzy. There's a bit of a halo, which made me think that it would be a really good like alternative to holding a strand of mohair because it's already got that fuzz. And so I ordered more yarn for it because I thought like I don't want to make socks out of this, I want to wear this on my body. So I ordered 3 more balls. It's not inexpensive. It's I think £12 a ball, which I think is quite expensive. However, knowing that I could get a sweater out of 3 balls for £12 feels much more reasonable, as opposed to, so it's like £36 as opposed to almost £50. It means that I have a spall left, so DK socks will be in my future. They're so soft and fluffy. Oh, it's amazing. I really, really like this yarn. I'm amazed, 900 meters. I've got a couple of tiny nuggets left. It's just like 300 grams. Like this motion is meant to tell you that this is light and fluffy. It's light and fluffy. Yeah, it's just so soft. It's really, really, really beautiful. 2 more things. One about the yarn is to say that this yarn is the exact same composition as Regia alpaca sock. Same meterage, same makeup. I think that's sometimes on sale more often, and it comes in more colours. So if you were interested and you either couldn't get Rico, or you wanted more options, or you wanted to maybe pay a bit less for it, the Regia Alpaca sock is the answer. At some point in the future, I'll definitely make this again. Maybe in black, but don't hold me to that. The second thing is, this is so warm. Oh my goodness. I'm always cold. I pretty much like make a cup of tea in the morning and then put the rest of the kettle into a hot water bottle and carry it around with me everywhere. And throughout the day, I just keep topping it up because I'm always cold. Not with this on. Like with this, I am so warm. I don't know if it's the alpaca or if it's the fact that it's so like light and fluffy that it's trapping the air. Is that a thing? I'm not sure, but I love it. I really, really like this. So yeah, this is my first finished object. No frill sweater. Rico. Oh, look at that raglan. It just looks so good. Anyway, no frill sweater in Rico design Superba Alpaca luxury sock in the silver colourway. That's not on here, but I found that online when I was buying it. So yeah, and I've got a sweater this week, which is exciting. Now I wish I was wearing this because I'm holding it up and it's so soft, and it is sending like dust particles into the abyss. So if you keep seeing them floating around, it's coming from there. Okay, next finished object. This leads quite well from my finished object straight into my work in progress. I finished a pair of socks. I've got one on blockers and you'll see why. So here's the sock I finished, and here is its partner. It is a pair. Oh, that way. Goodness, I really am a bit daft today, haven't I? Da, 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 da. So this, I will hold up while I talk about it. This is a vanilla sock, 64 stitches with a heel flap and gusset with the garter ridge bumps at the end of the heel because I find it easy to pick up. Wedge toe. It's a long leg, so these are for my partner. He is a big handmade sock fan, but he wears through them quite regularly, so I thought I'd make him some more. He likes a longer leg on the sock. This is an 80 stitch, like there's I think it's 12 here, and then an 80 row leg. And yeah, there's two of them. And this yarn is the January Sock Club from Pigment and Ply, which is a UK based dyer. She has beautiful, 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 beautiful yarn. Last episode, I said this was non-superwash, no nylon, and I was wrong, which I'm annoyed about because I don't know if I would have bought it if I realised, but it's all my own fault really. It is superwash, but it is no nylon, so it is 100% superwash BFL. It was a joy to work with. I'm really surprised this is superwash. Like, this does not feel like superwash yarn to me. I don't know if that's the BFL part of it, but this feels to me like a non-superwash a lot. Like, I'm really surprised to hear that. Really nice colours. This is the Will-o-the-wisp was the inspiration. And this arrived, and I, before realising that this was non-superwash, signed up for the next sock club, which was February. And just like last month's sock club, it's also late. I think it's late. I mean, it's meant to be dispatched by the 28th of February, and it's the 10th of March and it's not arrived. That's okay, I've got more sock yarn. But I've not signed up for the March club, and I don't know if I will. I'm seeing that there are other people doing non-superwash that I really want to try. There's Nervous Fibres, which are Glasgow based. There's the Cami here in Edinburgh. I've got other yarn to show you in acquisitions. It's non-superwash. And who's the fourth one? Oh, Woolly Mammoth. Emma. I want to try her yarns too. So I've ordered the February one, but I don't think I'll order any for at least a couple of months until I work my way through some other non-superwash dyers. What I am really proud of though is not only did I make this amazing pair, that leads right into my works in progress. I've got a shorty and a second shorty. So I finished this second sock yesterday and I immediately cast on, and it's already got a good bit of progress. I just put in my scrap yarn over lunch for the heel, yeah. Yeah. See the shorty. So it came with a mini. Look at this tiny little nugget that's left. This is the main yarn, and it came with this mini, this like sagey, like mossy green mini. When I finished the socks, I had 15 grams of this left, and you can see that I've done like 5 rounds of the cuff, and then the heel, and then the toe. I think I'm gonna have enough. I've done all of this, and it was 5 grams. Well, maybe not actually. What have I done there? Like 20, maybe. I've done like 30 rounds, and I need to do, 30 rounds was 5 grams, and I got to another 40 rounds, and then the toe. I think I'm gonna have just enough, like I'm gonna have grams left of this yarn. I'm gonna have another one. So the plan is that my boyfriend will get these, and I will get the shorties. I want to make myself some more shorties, and I think after I finish this sock, I will cast on immediately a pair of shorties for myself to keep my sock motor going. And I'll again do afterthought heel and toe because I like knitting them a lot, and I already have the yarn picked out for my stash. It's Superwash. It's just like older sock yarn, but I'm looking forward to them. And yeah, it's gonna be cute. It's quite a long leg, but I tried this one on and I liked it a lot, and I think it's gonna be very economical with the yarn amounts. And before I'm doing it on Chow Goose because that's my new favourite thing for. Oh, I lost the contrast colour. Oh. Okay, I'll find it later. Oh, I see it. It's rolled across the floor. Make it in the bag. Something fun is this is my sock blocker, and it's a pretty plain one. It's quite thick. I think thicker than most. And I got it from Etsy ages ago, like more than a year ago, and I really like it. And also, I don't knit 2 at a time socks, so it makes sense to just have one sock blocker because then I can always just be blocking one sock at a time, and then I knit the second one whilst this was blocking. But the Creabea boyfriend started sock knitting and knit himself one DK sock, but still one sock. And so I, as a gift, got him a sock blocker, but it's huge. It's so big. There's only in the foot between like the sock. Like, look at the difference in the size of this. I'm pretty sure I ordered the same size. It's so big. It's like an inch. Sorry, someone's doing gardening, so it's quite loud. Yeah, they're so big, and they're just a really like, very like, odd shape. However, firstly, now we live together, so now I had 2 sock blockers because he made one sock, not even a pair, and then never finished the second one. So now I have 2 sock blockers, which has been quite nice because I've been having them like hanging up like this. And secondly, I don't know if I'm going to block these. I found that with Superwash, especially, my socks are stretched out quite a lot, and my gauge has grown on my Superwash socks, and I'm wondering if I just won't block them because then at least they won't. I feel like my sock blockers are bigger than my feet are, and I don't want to block them out. So I think I'm just going to start wearing them. So yes, those are my socks. I really like them. Why am I taking these off the blockers? Oh, look at it. It's just so cute. It's so cute. Yeah, those are my socks. So I'll hopefully finish the last one, maybe not today, maybe tomorrow, and then cast on my other pair of shorties. I have great aspirations. To take a really cute picture for Instagram, where I'm wearing my shorties and my boyfriend is wearing these. And we have a green wall in our office, and like we could pose in front of the green wall. He's not going to want to do it. So either it will not happen, but if anyone sees that picture, I will have had to bribe him with chocolate or something to make that picture happen, because he will not want it to happen. But yeah, okay, that's my first work in progress. That's not even a real one. So many. Okay, okay, let's talk about these 2. These are my Conealong projects. So context first. The Conealong is a make-along that I'm currently running in collaboration with Woolyknit, who are a UK based. I've got one of their ball bands here. UK based yarn producer. They use British wool, and they produce it in this like small family run business, and I just love what they do. It's really reasonably priced, great selection, and I have loved them since forever. you'll actually see that I have 4 projects to show using their yarn, and all but one of them, like one of them was yarn they gifted for the Conealong, and everything else I had in stash because I just keep buying the yarn because I love it so much. They reached out and we were doing a collaboration, and it's called the Conealong, and it's running on Instagram and on Ravelry, and all you have to do is either use their yarn, so Woolyknit yarn, or use any other cone yarn, and post on Instagram with the hashtag Conealong, or on Ravelry, and I'll put it below. There's a group, and in the group there's a thread, and the thread is called Conealong. And if you use Woolyknit products, you get double entries, and if you don't, you just get a single entry, and it's running until the 24th of March, and then we'll draw some prizes. There are already like 250 plus entries on the Instagram thread. I think it's amazing. I follow the thread, so they keep popping up on my Instagram feed, and they're amazing. Somebody is making a guitar strap, like a woven guitar strap. Every time I see updates, I'm amazed. I think it's so cool. So yeah, 24th is running until. I'm seeing lots of people, their yarn is arriving, which is quite exciting. But one change of or different information, the discount code was running until the 9th, which would be over. However, they've extended the code until the end of the weekend, so until the 13th. The discount code is Creabea20, and it's 20% off British wool, so either British wool cones or the British wool hanks. And after the Conealong, so after the 13th, their prices are going to go up a little bit. Unsurprisingly, the pricing of everything's going up a little bit. Inflation in the UK is, yes, a bit painful. I mean, inflation everywhere is painful right now, and their prices will reflect that. So I think pretty much everything is going up by £1 or £2. And so this will be the last chance to get it at the discount price with the voucher, the discount code, which I think the cones are £18, and then with the discount code it takes off a little bit and puts it down to like £16 something. So yeah, that's important to know. Some people, I asked in the last episode if people had recommendations for like the shipping. The shipping is obviously relatively expensive because they're 500 gram cones of yarn. So I know that for some people in the States, they said it's still way cheaper to do this than it is to buy local cones. But some people did share, especially in Australia and maybe in Canada, some local cone suppliers. And so if you think I really want cone yarn, but shipping is too expensive, or I want to get something closer to home because it's more sustainable, etc. Last episode, there are some recommendations in the comments. And if anyone left those comments, thank you, because that's really helpful. So I'm knitting 2 projects for the Conealong, but as I said, I have currently 4 whips with their yarn, so theoretically I could put 4 entries in. But I'll talk about the 2 which I planned. The first one is with the yarn they gifted. So they sent, I didn't even talk about the prizes. The prizes are cones of yarn, obviously. Of course they are. So they sent a big box of yarn, and the majority of that box is prizes, and some of the box for me, and I got to pick some colours. And one of the colours I picked was this colour, which is called Mallard. So let me show the project first. It's on my Flexi cords, barber cords, because I took some pictures of this yesterday. So it's still on there, I've not been knitting on it since. Oh, I was like, what is that? It's a stitch marker. Okay, ta-da! This is my first one. Oh, it just looks so good. It looks so cute. It's gonna look so good, no? Okay, this is the first sweater. The first sweater is a pattern by Lizzie, who is Hive Knits on Instagram, and she's got a podcast called Hive Knits and Natter. It's her first ever pattern, and it is a raglan sweater where the sleeves are half fisherman's rib. This pattern is incredible. I mean, it can be a bit overwhelming when you first open it, but there are like 25 pages of notes. Every single technique you could possibly want in the pattern is in the pattern booklet. Lizzie also professionally, so like before she even released her first pattern, she went and paid a grader to professionally grade her pattern into 11 sizes, which again is amazing. And I know not everyone can afford to do that, or like that's a big investment to make, but I personally love that she did that. So I am making, now I should have made like this, I'm the size of the 5th size, however I didn't quite get gauge. Gauge is, I believe, 24 stitches per 10 centimeters, and I just didn't get that. I think I'm on 22 on 3.25 millimeter needles, and my concern was if I went any lower then I wouldn't be able to do the ribbing because I don't have small enough needles because my ribbing's on 2.5. So I did a bit of maths and worked out the sizing, what size I needed to make using a 22 stitch gauge, and so I think I'm making the 3rd size. And it's just looking really good. So I'm pretty, well, the pattern now has you now has you do ribbing. I find this a little bit too short. I like a crop jumper, but I think it's hitting like right on my natural waist, and I've not done the ribbing yet. So I think I'm going to do another like 5 centimeters. I chucked a stitch marker on when I last tried it on. This is from Brogan, who is the Woolly Witchcraft. She made some stitch markers. They've got these hook and eye, and I find them like I don't really know when to use them, so I was glad to find an excuse to use one. So I've put that in, and my goal now is to knit 5 more centimeters of body and then to move to the ribbing. And then the sleeves, I'm super excited for the sleeves. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the half fisherman's ribbon, the raglan. It's like 1 row knit and purl, 1 row knit, but you knit into the stitch below. So this is my first one. My first project's the first sweater, and then my yarn is this is Woolyknit, and this is the colour. It's a little bit blown out there. It's a bit darker than it's showing real bright blue. I think just it's a really good day for lighting, but it's not a good day for showing yarn. It's a really like rich petrol blue, and I'm holding it with 1 strand of yeah, see they're looking really different there. They're probably a bit closer in real life. So Woolyknit British Wool from the Cone in the colour Mallard, and I was taking this down, we went down south for a weekend, and I was taking this project with me, so I wound off balls, but it's 1 strand so I could just knit straight from the Cone, and I'm holding it with 1 strand of Filcolana Tilia in the Midnight colourway, and it's just making, it's so nice. And what I'm really impressed with, on the thread and on Ravelry, people have knit with this yarn and held different mohair, and it looks so different. Someone has used like a pale blue mohair, and it looks like a duck egg blue. Like I love that. I think that's like combining fibres is something I'm really into, and I love how it changes gauge, and yeah, I just think it's so cool. So yes, this is my first one. Anything else to say? Oh, something to say about this is sometimes when I knit on this, I get a rash. And the rash it comes around like, I can't really show this, but it's here and then down my wrist. It doesn't happen every time I knit on it, and it's a bit weird. It's just like little red dots, and it kind of goes like down my arm. And it's odd because I've used both the yarn and the mohair before, and I've got the yarn in other projects, and I'm having no issues with it at all. So I wonder if it's maybe the dye lot used in this specific type, or I did get the mohair from a different supplier than I usually get Filcolana Tilia. Maybe the way they store it is something that's irritating my skin. It does not hurt, it doesn't itch. It's just weird, it's giving me a rash. So yeah, it doesn't bother me at all, but it's just a weird thing I've noticed. And I hadn't made progress in this for a while, but last Friday we went to the cinema to see The Godfather because it's the 50-year anniversary of The Godfather, and a lot of cinemas are showing them again. So I took this 3-hour movie, made a lot of progress. I honestly think I knit like this much of the body on 3.25 mil needles in 3 hours. It was amazing. I had to, at one point I dropped actually I can see some mohair there that I've dropped. At one point I dropped a stitch and I had to wait for a very bright scene to like furiously pick up the stitch and like ladder back up. Yeah, so that made lots of progress. So that's my first Conealong project. And then my second Conealong project, I've also almost finished the body. So, I love this so much right now. This pattern is really getting all my love at the minute because I really do love it. So this is my sweater number, I'll just fix the bottom a little bit, it's got a little bit wonky. Sweater number 18 by My Favourite Things Knitwear. I'm knitting the size small, which I think is 120 centimetres finished bust. It's kind of like meant to be an 80s oversized style, and it goes up to a 2XL, which I believe is 150 centimetres finished bust. It's a really interesting stitch pattern of like a regular, there, that's the perfect colour, that's exactly how it looks, a really rich yellow. It's like a combination of knits and purls, like knit one, pearl and knit rose. And I made crazy progress on this. I think on Monday, or like over the weekend, last weekend, I picked up the collar and added the collar because I realised I was making progress. I hadn't taken any pictures. And I always find that sweaters with added collars look really silly until the collar is added, and then you can take nice pictures. So I took a nice picture of basically just like the top, just under the body join with a collar on Monday. And it's now Thursday and I'm ready to, I started the ribbing. Like it just flew, like this whole bit here just flew off my needles. I did not find it an intuitive pattern. I had to check the pattern I probably could have read my knitting back. But it's like a 40 stitch repeat, so I couldn't read it. I just followed the pattern. And also I think it's really interesting because it's knits and purl, there's a lot of give in this fabric. So I'm excited to block this because I do think, oh, I've dropped stitches. There we go. I keep seeing pictures of this on Instagram when people are wearing it and they've not blocked it. I think it looks so silly, like, or not silly, but it's really bubbly. But to be fair, it's such a nice pattern that I can understand wanting to wear it straight away because I want to wear it straight away and not wait for it to block. So yes, now it's looking like a kind of interesting square tank top. It's also like this line here, like this one looks really dark, right? Like it's a very bold. Did I do something wrong there? Maybe actually. No, I don't think so. It'll block out. I should put this on like this is my inspirational life motto, like it'll block out. So what am I using? I am using, so here's my little swatch. I'm using 2 strands of Woolyknit British Wool in the colourway Harvest and 1 strand of Sandnesgarn Tynn, the same as this. Sandnesgarn Tynn in the colourway Ochre. And they are meant to be together. Like they are just so beautiful. And it honestly looks like spun gold. It is absolutely the most rich, like it's not really mustard, it's not really gold, it's not really yellow, it's not really ochre, it's just all of those words, those good words together. And there's a mini knit along happening with 2 people, and one of them is J Knits and I can't remember the other person. I'll put them on screen now. And they're running a mini cal, and I think they're both French speaking, so they have a couple of groups with English speakers and a couple of groups with French speakers. It's really cute. I didn't really realise I was getting involved in a real cal. I just was like, it's like, would you be interested? And I was like, yeah, I'll post in the hashtag. And then like a week later I was in an Instagram group, but it's really lovely. It's been really sweet, especially at the start when I was finding it a bit hard to get into the pattern. It was nice to see other people like knitting it and I was feeling quite motivated. And there's a person in that group who sent their swatch yesterday and they're using the exact same colours, and I was like, I know what that is. That's Harvest. She was like, yeah, I loved your version. But I feel like I've become like the Harvest police because I keep seeing this popping up places and I'm like, I know that colour. I could recognise this like from a mile away. I really love it. So those are my two Conealong patterns. I think I'm on track. Like the Conealong, you can enter whips into the Conealong. You don't have to finish anything. You can literally just cast on if that's what you want to do. It would be nice to see some progress. But yeah, there's still quite a long time, 2 weeks today until it ends. And I think I'm going to be done. What? Super exciting. I've got training at work next week, and it's product training. Don't know what, product leadership I think it's called. And it is as to stay late after work. It's 3 till 7, 3 till 8 p.m. I think there's 3 till 7 and then there's an hour of Q&A at the end. And I'm just thinking, this is terrible. I am really excited for the training. I'm also excited for all the knitting time that it will provide me. And I'm thinking, how cool would it be if I could get both of these into a position where I'd picked up, like I'd finished the body. Could I knit a sleeve in a day on my first sweater and on this, and over 4 days finish 4 sleeves? Is that a ridiculous thought? I think on this it could be doable. I'm on 5mm needles. I know I'm currently on 4, but that's because of the ribbing. It's 5mm needles, so I think I could do it. And for the first sweater, because it's half fisherman's rib, you only really knit to like here and then you block out the rest. Maybe. If you never hear me mention that idea again, it's because I failed. But if I come back next time and I tell you I did it, we all know what happened. So yeah, that is those are my Conealong projects. I'm loving both of them. I think like I lost a bit of mojo on my blue one for a while, and then I went to the cinema and did loads on it. And then my yellow one was taking a bit of motivation to get through the back and forth before you join in the round. And again, now I love it. So, very excited. 2 weeks left of the Conealong, 24th of March. It's the deadline. I have 6 beautiful cones of yarn being ready to be sent to somebody, or 6 different people. So, I'm excited to draw prizes. And the discount code, Creabea20, runs until midnight GMT on the 13th, which is Sunday? Yeah. So if you're watching this before the 13th, you can still use that, but if not, then I'm sorry. Okay, we're back. I put my hair up because I keep playing with it. And maybe it's distracting me. What else? We had pizza yesterday, so I had like 3 bites of leftover pizza. And I have a cup of chai. So I'm raring to go for the second part. Okay, let me show this one. So last time, where did I put that swatch? Last time I showed this swatch. So my stepdad is incredibly knitworthy. It is his 50th birthday in May. Exactly 2 weeks, I think. 10th or the 11th, I'm not sure. It's his birthday in 2 months. And I had told him in December that as a birthday gift, I would knit him a sweater. And I asked what he'd like would you like cables, or would you like colour work, or do you want plain? And of course he wants an all over colour work sweater. So I'd done some swatching and I felt prepared, and then I had some serious cast-on-itis yesterday, and so I cast it on, which I think is good. Even though I've got so many projects, I think it's good, because even if I just do like a couple of rounds a day, we'll get there. So this is the swatch. These top colours, I'm repeating myself if you watched last time, but I'll go through it briefly. I'm using the Strange Brew pattern by Tynn Knits. However, I'm using the motif from the Marit cardigan. I don't know who the designer is, but I'll have it like below. I'm obsessed with this cardigan. I just think it's amazing. I will make it for myself at some point in the future. I actually have worked out how to make it in DK weight for my own size. So I will do that. Because I am a lazy knitter and I'm not making myself a fingering weight cardigan. So that's my plan. The Marit motif. Strange Brew, like the Strange Brew is, I think most people know about it, but the Strange Brew is almost like a recipe, and it gives you 3 different gauges, so Aran, DK and fingering, and it gives you a lot of sizes from like baby through to men's 4XL, I think, like a huge range of sizes, and it tells you how to add short rows and it tells you how to do X and Y, and it's really, really good. So this is my swatch, and the top 3 colours, So actually I did a dark green. I used this dark green that's like here as my initial background colour, and then didn't like it. So then I changed to this beige as the background colour, and the top 3 were originally my colours, and I just don't like them. I think it looks a little bit like the yellow is too bright. I just didn't like it. I didn't think it worked. So then I used some of my cinnamon colourway, held it double, and did it here, and I thought it was pretty much perfect. Like, I really like this colour combination, this. So I decided on that one, but I decided that, again, this is very pernickety. I used the cinnamon colour. This is also Woolyknit yarn. I bought this all. None of this was gifted. And I bought this because I was going to do the whole thing in their Diggle DK base. Because I think they're maybe switching out this base, I'm not sure, but this was on sale. So I think it was 10 balls for £20. It's 100% British wool, 122 meters per 50 grams. It's a bit flat right now. And this is like the rustic net colour, and I liked it a lot. So this is what I originally did it in. However, I then tried it with my cinnamon colours, holding 2 strands together, and with this, and I think with all of the British wool, it's a little bit tonal, so there are like little flecks of yellow, little flecks of darker red, and I really like that. Like, I think it just really added an interesting component to the swatch. But by comparison, I felt that this grey was really dull and very muted. Green. So I ordered green British wool, which I think is the Celtic green colour. And so this is now my colour palette with the rust. I'm really happy, really happy. So I cast on yesterday. I did my short row. Well, I added it. The pattern tells you to add short rows. Sorry. The pattern tells you to add short rows at the bottom. Like, it assumes that you will do a colour work yoke and then do short rows at the bottom of the yoke. But I'm doing all over colour work, so I only added like a very small amount of colour. You can. These are my short rows, right? Like, it's minimal. It's a real small amount of colour of short rows. I think maybe 2.5 centimeters, an inch. And then I was buzzing through this, and then I realised I've done my colours the wrong way around. So in the Marit chart, the Marit originally is done with a blue and a brown, and I want to put the green where the brown is and put the brown where the blue is. And I knew this, like, I thought this through, because he really likes green, and I want green to be like the main contrast colour. But I think because the pattern has blue and has brown in it, my brain just saw brown and knitted brown. So I did a little bit this morning, and I think it's minimal, right? Like, it's literally, I mean, it's almost 10 rows, but yeah, I did a little bit. It looks real good. It looks really nice. But I'm gonna have to rip this back to the short rows so that I can get my colours the way I want them. Which is fine. It's kind of annoying, but it's fine. It's like an hour and a half of work that I'm gonna have to rip out, which is not crazy, but I just did this morning, so it's still in my brain, like, my swatch is on 4.5mm needles, and I got 20 stitches per 10 centimeters, and it is really see-through. Why did I do that and assume that you would be able to see through this? Does it work? No. Is it see-through? Oh yeah, see, you can see me through it. It's a pretty see-through swatch. So I knew it's 20 stitches and the pattern is 22 per 10 centimeters. So I tried to go down to a 4mm and it was still too gapey. So I've gone down to a 3.5mm and it's perfect. So yeah, and I definitely think this green, I mean, I think the difference is minimal, but like this green and brown, this is where I really hope that knitters, like, nobody else in my life would understand why this is so much better. This is the colour I'm going with, and this is the colour I had. Like, do you see why my new green is better than my old green? Please say yes, because otherwise I'm just a ridiculous human being. So yeah, I'm annoyed at myself because I made good progress in this morning, but it's okay. I usually do maybe an hour of knitting in the morning before I start work. Like, I get to my desk at like 7:38, have my first coffee, sit at my desk, check my emails, I'm online, I'm there, but I usually spend that hour like waking up. So I watch your podcast. Today was no exception. And that's when I did that bit. So I'll rip it back and I'll probably keep going tonight because I don't want to lose momentum on it. I would quite like to get the first 10 rows done, like the first motif done, before, because I've got another test knit coming. I'll get to that eventually. But I would like to get some progress done on that one because, yeah, I'm thinking even if I just do like 10 rows every couple of days, or like a motif every few days, then an hour, maybe like 3 or 4 hours on it a week, it will progress. So that is my 4th whip. No. Yeah. Here's my 5th whip. So I signed up for a test knit. I signed up for 2 test knits. This was the first one I signed up for, and then I signed up for a second one. The second one I will not talk about because the yarn has not arrived yet. It is a vest. It's a beautiful vest. I shared it on Instagram. It's a cabled pullover, sweater, slipover thing. But I didn't have yarn in stash. I really don't think I did. Like I know it sounds ridiculous that I don't have yarn in stash or my stash is so big, but I didn't have the yarn I wanted in stash. So I really don't think I had yarn for it. It was, yeah, I don't think I did. I did some swatching, the stuff I had in stash, I didn't like any of it. So I ordered yarn. And it drops Alpaca and drops Lima and drops Air, so it wasn't particularly expensive. So I don't mind ordering, but I got a dispatch email today. So that'll be for next time. My other test knit, I will not say I regret signing up for this, but like I didn't need to do this. Like I don't know what possessed me. I don't know if you ever, like the test knit is there, the sign up is there, and you're just like, I want to do it. So you sign up immediately. And I've been saved in the past a few times and I signed up for them and I've immediately thought, why did you do that? Like back up. And then I've not been accepted. And I'm like, thank God. This one I was accepted. And I will say it's a beautiful, very basic sweater that I will get so much wear of, but I probably did need to do another test knit. So this sweater is called I can't remember. It starts with a B and it's 4 letters and I can't remember. I think it's Bina, Bina, yeah it is. Bina V-neck sweater. And it is by Gregoria Fibers. Gregoria Fibers are also, I believe, a Scandinavian design company. They make some beautiful things. I bought a few of their patterns when I first started knitting. I didn't make any of them. Followed them on Instagram for a long time. Really, really nice aesthetic. They have their own yarn line. It's run by, like, one woman runs the show herself. Have a lot of respect for it. And so this came up and I signed up. So it won't look like much because I've not added collar yet. But this is the sweater. Oh, it looks better than I thought. You can see it more what it's going to look like. So it is an oversized V-neck sweater. I've not done any work on this for a few days because we're going to see The Godfather Part 2 tomorrow. And I was racking my brains, like, what can I take to The Godfather Part 2 that I can knit on in the dark? And this is the only option I have left that just needs in the round knitting. So I'm taking this. Yeah, this will be my project for tomorrow at the cinema. And it needs to be like 30 centimetres, and I think right now it's maybe 12. So I've got a good bit to go on this. I think I might also take socks with me because I think I will need to stop on this at some point during the movie. It's a long movie. So it's really interesting construction. Again, front piece, back piece. I thought this V-neck construction was really interesting. There was some feedback about for the sizes above mine, the V-neck was too deep and it's been changed. And I think I'm knitting again the 4th size. I don't know what size that is. I think it's a large, and I can't remember the measurements, sorry. But size 5 and above, the V-neck was too deep, and size below it works. And I feel like I'm worried it's going to be quite deep on me. But I don't think so, because you still pick up along here and then you add a folded neckline. So I think it's going to be okay. I'm feeling positive about it. Generally really fun to knit. And I'm really enjoying it. I ordered yarn for this testing knit, and the yarn didn't work, and then I used something in Stash. I was really, really back and forth about the colour combination for this, and I was looking at other v-neck sweaters and I couldn't decide. And I decided on camel, like camel colour. So I ordered this, which is Dijon Peruvian Highland wool from Knit Yarn. And I ordered this mohair, which is almond mohair from Drops. And they should look like they go together, but they really didn't. Like, it really looked really strange. I think because the core of the mohair was so pale, it looked very, very odd. So I have a sweater quantity of both now. Story of my life. I think it's okay, because there's Drops almond in Lima. So I think I'll get that at some point in the future, and they're going to be the same colour. And this, I think I'll make a zipper sweater by Petite Knit. I bought that pattern in the day she was donating all pattern sales to Red Cross Denmark. So I think I'll make a zipper sweater at some point in the future. But I just brought them to show you that I started there. But they didn't work. So then I had to, of course, end up back with Old Faithful. Using more Woolyknit. Again, this yarn was not gifted. This yarn is yarn I had in Stash. I bought this at the same order that I bought the Harvest colourway. Nice that they're finally knitted up, and I bought them in Halloween. So they've been in Stash for a few months. This is the Heron colour. Again, it's blowing out a little bit. It's actually quite a similar colour to my wall. Maybe more grey. And I'm holding it with a strand of Filcolana, I don't have the ball band, Filcolana Tilia and a slate grey. And they're definitely a different tone. Like, this is pretty accurate. This is a kind of like a bluey, like a smoky grey, and this is more like a slate grey. But it adds a lot of really nice depth, and yeah, it's a really, really nice, I think it's going to be such a good useful piece. I was hesitant to use it at first because I was like, oh, like I really like that yarn combination. Maybe I don't want to make like a basic something in it. Maybe I want to wait for a pattern I love. And then I thought, Rebecca, like, you have so many sweater quantities of yarn. There's so much yarn you want to knit up in the future. Just knit the damn yarn. So I made a swatch and it was absolutely perfect. Bang on gauge. Yeah, so I've not touched this in like 3 days because I've been focusing on my other ones. But this will get all the love tomorrow, and then I'm thinking now though, the deadline for this is the 18th of March, and that is a week's time. So unless, maybe I should try and knit the sleeves on this one in my workshop and not the sleeves on my other ones, because this is the one that really needs to be done by the 18th. But something I want to add about, it's also on nice chunky needles. It's on 5.5. So it'll knit pretty quickly. And this is my very cute little bag. But something I wanted to say about this, which I am super impressed by. So the test knit came out, I signed up. It wasn't, and this is evidently where I'm falling into some, oh, these weird hiccups are coming again. This is where I have fallen into this trap now twice. If it's not like for other test knits, so when I did the Billy sweater for Sari Nordland, it said like, there's a whole post about it, there's size, A to Z, this is the measurement of all the sizes, let me know which one fits. Whereas for these ones, this one for today and the slip over, it was like, drop us a message if you're interested. Dropped a message, got the pattern, found out the pattern wasn't size inclusive. So when this one came out, I was like, oh no. I already had the pattern, and so I just felt really cheeky to go back to the designer and be like, oh, sorry, like, you've already sent me this thing, but I can't knit it. But I was like, oh, I really care about size inclusivity, and I've been really insistent on size inclusivity, and this designer it went up to a 2XL, and this designer has other patterns on their website that go up to a 5XL. So I was like, oh, I felt so stupid. I was like, I should have seen this, or I should have asked about this. So I sent a message back to the designer and I was like, hey, I don't mean to be really annoying about this, but I really care about size inclusivity, and I see that this pattern only goes up to a 2XL. And like, is there any plan to extend the size range? Because otherwise I don't think I'm the right person to take part in the test knit. And they came back and said, would you be willing to knit a bigger size? And I was like, well, no, but I was like, I can help. Like, I think if you put it out there, like, you have 90,000 followers on 90,000, yeah, 90,000 followers on Instagram. Like, I'm sure there'll be people who want to knit this pattern. It's amazing. Put a tester call out. I mentioned it in the last podcast, and she messaged me 2 days later and said, thank you so much, I filled all the sizes, and extended the pattern by 3 more sizes. So there are now 9 sizes in the pattern, and the pattern is being tested up until 5XL. And I just think that's a real little win, like a really nice thing. Now, I'm not the only one, I'm sure, to message her, and like, yeah, I just, this was not like a look at what I achieved. This was like a look how cool this designer is, because we took some really honest feedback. What could have been construed as me being a bit, it could be really annoying in RC because I signed up, I got the free pattern even though it's a testing pattern, and then I said, but what, like I said, a one-woman business, and she just turned around and said, yeah, you're right, let me fix that. And within like 2 days had a graded version for 9 sizes, and it's now being tested by 9 sizes. So I am really proud to be part of the testing for that. I think it's really exciting, and I'm looking forward to having the sweater. Like I say, super quite simple, V-neck, grey sweater. It's going to go with so many things. It might feel like school uniform, but good school uniform. And yeah, so that should be done by next time, because I'm filming long after the deadline. So hopefully I finish the sweater. And yeah, I'm now starting to panic and think, should I have left this for 3 days when there's a deadline coming? Probably not. Okay, I have yarn. And I have another non-yarn thing to show. Okay, I'll start with the yarn, because the yarn is quite cool. So I've got a couple of I've got an odd skein to show of sock yarn. I've got an order from Holst. I've got an order from Knitting for Olive. I've got some yarn that was sent to me, which is incredibly exciting. And I have a gadget / accessory. So let me start with the skein of sock yarn. So as I said, non-superwash, I'm interested by it. I just find non-superwash socks fit my feet much better, and I want to wear them more. And there's a lot out there, and I'd quite like to continue to support dyers who are choosing non-superwash, because it's generally better for the environment and it's more natural, and I like it. So somebody on Instagram tagged me in this company. They are called Bluebell Yarns, and the dyer is also called Rebecca, so I felt like a immediate affinity to her because we share the same name. It is 100% Falkland Corriedale. Is it Corriedale or Corriedale? Spun in Yorkshire, dyed in Dorset, which are 2 places in England. 400 meters, 400 grams, 4-ply fingering. And this is it. This colour is called City Lights, and yeah, this is bang on. Like, it's got these real pops of like neon colour. There's a little bit of this green in there. I'm not like a very super colourful person, but when it comes to socks, like, of course, because they're on your feet and like they just look really jazzy. So I really like this. It was not particularly, well, it was I think maybe £17, which is much more expensive than commercial yarn, but pretty regularly priced for hand-dyed yarn. And I think sometimes non-superwash can really creep up in value. For some reason it becomes more expensive, and this was not particularly more expensive. Look at the little... So yeah, this is really fun. So I think I'm going to cast on shorties immediately right away, and then I might cast on these. I would like to be able to make 2 pairs out of it again, but I don't have the contrast heel-toe cuff colour, so I'm not sure what I'll do about that. I might just knit socks for myself and not make any for my partner. Just knit myself 2 pairs of shorties. But yeah, I just thought they were really, really fun. Now I'm looking at them, maybe I just cast these on after these ones, because look at it, it's just so cute. I also ordered I've put it away now. I also ordered a stitch marker at the same time because it was cute, and I thought, why not? But yeah, really cute first acquisition. Okay, second acquisition. Let's do Knitting for Olive. So Knitting for Olive had, they've done this before. They did it in August last year. They had a day where all the proceeds of their of the yarn sales for a day were donated to charities to support women in Afghanistan. And then they did it again this time and donated to, I believe, the Red Cross in Norway. Is it in Norway? To support humanitarian aid in Ukraine. I didn't participate last time. I did this time. I had needed no encouragement at all to spend money. And I think there's some controversy about whether spending money and you still get squishy yarn at the end of the day, and is that really charity? I think like it's up to you to decide. I found multiple ways to donate, and one of them was buying squishy yarn, and one of them was buying lovely patterns for Petite Knit, and then I also donated items and food via other routes. So you make your own call on that one. I ordered 9 skeins. No, I ordered more than 9 skeins of yarn. This came on the same day as another package I'm going to show, and the day after came the host, and the week before I got a package from Knit, and Knit says like Knit in big letters on the bag, and my door went, and I opened the door, and it was my post lady, and she said, Rebecca, use my name, I've lived here for 3 months, Rebecca, what are you going to do with all this yarn? I was like, it's only 10 o'clock in the morning, why are you attacking me like this? I was like, sorry. And she was like, just keep getting all this yarn, what are you going to do with it? And I was like, I don't know. Turns out she's also a knitter. She knits primarily baby knits, and she said, quote unquote, I have yarn coming out of every orifice of my house. And I was like, me too, girl. So that was great. We bonded. It was a good moment, and now I don't feel judged for buying yarn. But like there was a moment of sheer panic where I was like, oh my god, am I buying this much yarn that my post lady knows I'm only buying yarn? So yeah. Okay, so let me show. So the first thing I can show you is their merino, which is fingering weight. There are 6 skeins of this colour, which is marzipan. And then I was considering making the Friday tee by Petite Knit. I could also make the Straya cardigan by Andrea Mowry. These are my contrast colours, so like a navy, this like aqua blue, and this like dusky pink. And I also ordered dark ochre, and they sent me the wrong skein. So they sent me a skein of dark cognac, and it should be dark ochre, and the dark ochre was more like this colour, so like that palette. But Sophie of the Knit Pro Girl has already said that she's making a dress out of this or something out of this, and said that she would quite happily buy this skein off me, so I'll post it her way, and then I'll decide closer to the time. I think this is maybe a little bit, I don't love this, like I don't mind this colour palette, but I think it's maybe not quite my thing, so I might order a skein of the ochre from Beautiful Knitters in London, who stock Knitting for Olive. So that was my first thing. I also, from them, got 2 skeins of pure silk to make some form of summer cami. I'm not really on top of my summer knits yet. This is a real, that's perfect. It's like a real green colour. It's called, it's Dusky Artichoke, which is like the most famous Knitting for Olive colour ever. It's a real like sagey green. I believe that with 2 skeins I should be able to get a cami. Could be lying. Don't know. I also have no idea what cami I'll make, but yeah, that should be some form of like tank top camisole something for summer, because there's no way I can go through summer without knitting. And then the last thing is the cotton merino, and this is in the colour Piglet, and it's definitely not quite the colour I thought it would be, so that's pretty accurate. I'm just thinking though, like if I'm wearing this, I'm gonna look naked. It's very close to my skin colour. So maybe I'll stripe this, is what I'm thinking. And so I got 3 skeins of this. So it was quite a big order, and it was quite an expensive order. It's about £100, I think. Also quite a lot of taxes on it. It was pretty much bang on £100, or like 97, I think, after exchange rate. So if I get I was gonna make a cotton t-shirt out of this, and I think I might do something else, because I don't know if I can wear just this without looking naked. But a sweater or cardigan, a silk camisole, and a cotton merino t-shirt for £97 felt quite reasonable, and especially when the money was going to a good cause. So that was my first one. I will say I'm not super, like I don't have any immediate plans to cast any of this on, so this is definitely going to stash for a little while. But I think that's just because I've got so much immediately in my brain that I don't know when I'll get around to it. The next one is crinkly. Sorry. This is from Holst. I have wanted to place an order for so long, but I waited because I wasn't buying yarn. So I bought this yarn at the end of February, which we all know is a ridiculous concept because I kept buying yarn. So I had a very colour palette order from Holst. The first thing I did was order some more CeeLo. I talked about CeeLo a lot in earlier episodes. It is a very interesting yarn. And I bought 5 skeins of lilac. It's going to be like my real spring colour, I decided. And I want to make, oh, interesting. This is not as stretchy as the white. Oh, still stretchy. So this, let me talk about the yarn. It is 50 grams, it's 42% alpaca, 42% fine merino, and 16% polyamide. It's not a blown yarn. It's very similar to a blown yarn, but it's actually an I-cord construction. And yeah, I got it in this lilac colourway. I got 6 of these actually to make cardigan number 7, but my favourite thing knitwear. I made 2 before. I wore my white. Did I wear my white one last week? I think I did. I wore it last episode in white, and I'm looking forward to making a purple one. This might get on my needles relatively soon. I want to be able to wear it for spring, and I'm concerned that if I don't get it on in my next round of new cast-ons, then I won't have it ready in time. So that is the first thing. And then continuing with my colour palette. This is Holst Super Soft. These are the cutest little cakes I've ever seen. They're just so pleasing. So this colour is Ecru. Yeah, Ecru. And this colour is Hyacinth. And that is like so beautifully tonal. And I had to order some more because I don't know how I did this. I completely miscalculated my yardage for this, which was just ridiculous. But I'm going to make I have a picture. The Great Gingham Raglan by Jessie Maid. I've been obsessed with. I bought the pattern the day it released. I'm going to hold 2 strands together. I'm going to steek the cardigan. I'm going to add a purple button band and neckline. I cannot wait. I'm so excited for this. I really want to cast this on. It's taking a lot of willpower to not cast this on. This purple is so perfect. I was really worried. There are quite a few purple shades on Holst's website. Like, this is maybe the mid one. There's a darker and a lighter, and there's this one. And I was just really worried that there wouldn't be high enough contrast, but there definitely is going to be high enough contrast. It's going to look so cute. Like, it's going to be so much knitting. It's going to be amazing. So yeah, that's just in such a nice little bag with these. So I misordered. I should have ordered, I think the yardage is around 600 meters of each, and obviously I need a little bit more of the purple because I'm going to do a button band. Each cake is 100% wool, it's 50 grams, and it is 287 meters. And I have 4 of each colour, and obviously I'm holding it together, so overall I would only have like 550 meters, and then I need more for the button band. So I ordered more. I'm annoyed about it because I'm like, I could have just saved all the postage and shipping. I just ordered it in one. Had I been organised? I was not organised. So I really want to cast them both on. Like, I really, especially the Great Gingham. Like, I'm just so excited for them both. I think they're going to be amazing. But I do need to like get through what's on my nails now and focus on some of the things I have to get knitted up, and then be clear a whip or two. Thinking maybe April, like maybe in April time I'll start working on these. Also, I live in Scotland, so I'm going to need to wear knitwear for the summer. There'll be like 3 days where it'll be warm enough to just be in bare shoulders, but I'm going to need knitwear, so it's not a bad thing. Like, I'll still get wear of it. So this yarn I picked up at Unravel Festival, and I fell in love with the skein. Like, I wanted more of it and there wasn't any more. It is from Telling Yarns, who is a indie dyer, and I was drawn to their stand because they do non-superwash, and this was a colourway done I think last spring, dyed by Telling Yarns from Gullet Farm, which is I don't know if they're only a sheep farm, but they have sheep. 100% British Romney, 100 grams, 400 meters, and this was the forest green. And this is just like, you can see on screen, this is beautiful. Like the variegation, it was insane. The colour was so nice. The twist on that yarn, like I completely fell in love with it. And as I said, I got one skein. And then I got a message on Instagram, I believe from a viewer called Jo. I think her name was Jo. It could be Jan, or it was a J name, a short J name. I can picture her Instagram picture perfectly, but I can't picture her name. Who messaged me and said, hey, don't know if you know, but Gullet Farm are setting up a yarn company. And you can sign up for their email and get more information about it. And here's the link. And I was like, you're amazing. Thank you so much. This is so kind of you. So I messaged them. I filled in the email there's a link where you can put in some information for the newsletter. So I put my email in, and then I got a message being like, we're launching soon, is there anything specific you want to know? So I replied to the email and said, hey, I've talked about your yarn on my podcast. I didn't like link or anything, but I was like, I just talk about, it's always a bit of a weird one, like, hi, I talk about knitting on YouTube. And I mentioned your yarn. It'd be really nice to get a bit more information about it so that I can, I fell in love with this skein. I'd love to be able to talk about it a bit more. And also to be able to share the timeline for when you have more, like when the yarn is launching. And so they were sending out some samples, and the person, Jan, the person who messaged me had also had a few samples. And they were like, yeah, sure, like, let us send you some samples. It's really great. I think the same person who messaged me about their website had also messaged them about the podcast, so they'd watched the episode. And then the same day as the Knitting for Olive order showed up, this showed up, and I almost cried. I don't even think, I know this is the most beautiful yarn order I've ever received. It was so beautifully packaged. The yarn itself was incredible, and I honestly was just ready to cry. Which I think only other knitters will understand. So let me read the email. I popped a few skeins in the post to you earlier this afternoon, so you should receive them tomorrow or Sunday at the latest. I've sent you some farm samples, so they're not the branded label that will be for sale. There are Romney blends and a single breed Black Welsh Mountain. The Black Welsh Mountains are our latest addition to the farm flock. The blends are created from our Gullet Farm organic Romney lambs, blended with our zero waste, I don't know how to say this, SOAY, soy Manx. There are going to be yarn knowledgeable people out there cursing me for this. I'm going to put this exact phrase on the screen. Soy Manx Lochan Hebridean. Oh, that was terrible. I know it was. So I presume that's another. I know Manx is a breed, I know Hebridean is a breed, so I guess the other two are also types of breeds. I should have looked this up before I came. All of our skeins have complete traceability down to the sheep the wool originated from. The wool is from our own organically reared lambs, blended with wool sourced locally by neighbouring friends, utilising what might have been thrown away to create beautifully natural tones. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts. Stephanie. So Stephanie's from Gullet Farm. And this is what arrived in the post. They're so beautiful. So it came with this beautifully lit printed cards. They all had these tags on them. And there was also a ribbon. I've already pinned that up on my pin board because I thought it was so beautiful. So let me go through each one. So this is the palest one. It's like a real like creamy, warm, creamy colour. Then there's like an oatmeal. Then there's like a heathered grey, oatmeal grey. And then there's the like blacky brown one. And they are just, they're like currently my most prized possessions. I love them so much. The only reason they're not caked up yet is because I wanted to show them on the podcast today. And I'm obsessed. I have no idea what yarn weight they are, and I have no idea how much yardage is in each of them. There's definitely varying, so like I don't think there's a massive difference in yarn weight, but I'm pretty sure this one is more of like a worsted, whereas this is definitely, I don't know if I can even show this, but let me try. Yeah, so if I take like a thread here, like those are 2 strands, and you can see that the black brown one is well, not much, but a good bit thinner than the other one. There's literally just like bits of sheep in them. I love this so much. So yeah. Oh, this looks so good. So this is where, so firstly, you can go to the website and sign up for the newsletter if you'd like to, and I'll keep an eye out for it. I'm thinking I want to cast this onto a Musselburgh hat, and As Old As He has just released a new, like some extra gauges, so I might cast this on first. But I'd like to have this finished for when they launch, because it would just be so nice, like they're doing all this work to get their yarn out there, and I could show like a nice finished object. You can sign up to the newsletter to get some more information, and as and when I know more, they've said like, well, I replied and said basically, thank you so much, you're incredible, your yarn's amazing, but I will make sure to share the timelines here as and when I hear more. But what I would really love some help with is knowing what to do with this yarn. I want to put it all into one project. I had a very unhelpful advice from my boyfriend who said, knit a jumper and do like colour block jumper, and I was like, I'm not doing that. I mean, to be honest, in this yarn, even then it would look beautiful, but yeah. I like the idea of doing a fade, because I think it does fade quite naturally. I think that would be really beautiful. I also think a shawl would be good, because if the yarns are different weights and different lengths, then it doesn't matter so much. Like, if I've got, I don't know, 300 yards of one and 400 of the other, then it's fine. I don't want a very graphic pattern. What I ideally would like to do is, I'm not really a shawl wearer, but I have a couple of, I have one here, I have a couple of blanket scarves that are basically just big bits of fabric from Zara from 5 years ago, and I wear them all the time. I said I'm always cold, and I usually have one on my office, like one in my jacket sleeve to put on my jacket, and one on the back of my office chair, and I think a woolly version would be beautiful. And I'm thinking if I could cast on, say, I don't know how many stitches, but like if it was say 50 centimeters deep, and I just kept going till the yarn ran out and faded from this to this, I think that would be beautiful. I think it'd be so nice. I looked up a little bit of fading, but most of the advice I got on doing fades was about how to pick your colours, and I'd be more curious on how to actually fade. I've never done a fade before. So what I would love, if anyone has any insights, is there like just a pattern you think would look great in this? I definitely think like rustic, like contribute. I don't really want like, I'm thinking more Fibre Tales and less Stephen West. Like if there's a spectrum from like rustic shawls to crazy graphic, like Stephen West is far away from where I want to be. And more something like really natural that really just shows off how incredible these yarns are. So if you have a great design, if you saw these and thought that has to be XYZ, let me know. And alternatively, if you don't have that but you have some great resources on how to fade best, let me know. I'll keep doing some digging. I did a basic Google search and the first 10 resources were all how to pick your colours for a fade. So I think I need to do something more specific searching. But yeah, I definitely for next time I'll have had these I think I'm gonna wind these up and then do some swatching. I was thinking of just doing like a mini little swatch with all 4 to see like there's a couple set like an inch in all 4 so I can see what they look like together, and also see if there's a massive difference in yarn weight. But yeah, so these are my new favourite yarn. And it is Gullet Farms, and this is, I presume these must be like, that makes sense, right? These are the 3 Romney blends, so 3 Romney blends and a single breed Black Welsh Mountain. And this one's actually really drapey, if you can really tell, but like this compared to this, like there's so much drapier yarn. Interesting. So that's my last of my yarn hauls, and as you can see, lots of yarn, lots and lots to keep me occupied. Oh my goodness, the chaos around me is next level. The thing is, once I finish filming, I just want to take a break and like sit back and relax and drink my tea. And actually when I finished filming, I had to tidy up all the mess and then I had to start editing, so I have one last thing to share. It's a really long episode. I don't think anyone minds. So, my last thing to share. I've been looking for quite a long time for a needle case. I just opened that. Anyway, I've been looking for quite a long time for a needle case. I have Knit Pro Zings. They're called Knit Pro Zings, are my primary needle. And I have had it for 18 months and I was using still the plastic case it came in. And the plastic, like, it was kind of like a weird canvas thing, and then there was a plastic screen, and the plastic screen broke, and the pocket was getting awkward. And so I think for a few months I've been on the lookout for a new needle case. And I liked the idea of one that was leather, because I think it would wear nicely, but I was struggling with them being very expensive, like hundreds and hundreds of pounds. And also not quite meeting what I was looking for. So some are beautiful and they were like a couple of £100, but then they had like spaces for 20 needles and no pockets, or they had space for 6 needles and 5 pockets, and I was like, this is annoying. I want somewhere where all my needles will fit, there's pockets for my accessories, like it's all in one place. And then when I was ordering, I think it was actually when I was ordering this skein from Knit, this is such a silly reason, but I was slightly below the free shipping amount. And I was like, just have a look. Like, sometimes you just see a skein or you just see some stitch markers or whatever. And there's a whole section at the top that was mood living. And I'd never clicked on the mood tab before, because I don't know why. In my head, I thought it was very expensive. It is still pretty expensive. And also, like, I was like, oh, I don't need a leather project bag. Like, I just don't need it. And this was right there at the top of the page. And I added to my bag so quickly. And it's been 2 weeks, I guess, pretty much 2 weeks. And I think I'd ordered it in the last episode, it hadn't arrived yet. And I love it. So I'll show it to you. I checked with Simona, who owns Knit, and said, like, again, I felt a bit like ridiculous saying it. I was like, I'm going to talk about this in the podcast, and I know they're out of stock, and I'm wondering if you're getting them back in stock because people might want to buy them. And I felt like a bit of like a stuck-up influencer being like, everyone's going to want this when I talk about it, so you should get them back in stock. But she said, thanks so much for mentioning it, so glad you like it, hope we get them back in stock next week. So if you are interested, next week Knit will have them. So this is the Stockholm, I don't know how best to show this actually, let me show it closed up first. It's the Stockholm needle case. I don't know what's sticking through there. By Mood, and I got mine in a whiskey colour. And it's quite dinky, right? So I don't have like 6 needle sets, so I didn't really need a huge one. But yeah, it's pretty small and it's a quite easily like it's kind of like a 500-page book, 600-page book. So it's got this little clip, and what I quite like is it's got 2, and I don't think this is the reason, but in my head, if this gets loose, because you know how like it can wear and become looser, you could keep it nice and tight by clipping to the second one, but I always clip to the first. And then it folds out and folds out again into this like flat thing. I should have filmed the flat lay of this, but this is what you're getting. So on the one side are the needle holders, and so I have here I have my tapestry needles, and then it goes from 3.75 all the way up to, are they 8s? Yeah. I have 2 sets of 4mm, and everything fits in here perfect. Like I fit them all perfectly, and those are all my Knit Pros. And then tucked behind here, there's an extra set of pockets. So I have my wooden DPNs, which I pretty much only use to cast on socks, and then I have some wooden. I think I've got 3 sets of these wooden needles. And I also, like 3 sets of the longer tip ones. And I also have all my shorty tips that are also, I think, Knit Pro Symphony. And they kind of sit in like a second layer behind here, but they also fit in like the individual holes, because this stitch thread goes all the way through. So there's like 2 sets in this pocket. This one along the left, I've got like this pocket, I've got my cords. Bar cords. I think I've got 2, like a big one and a small one in there. Oh, actually, that Barbara cord, there's a third one in the wrong place. And then, so that's that side of it. And this side, here, I should divide these up because I currently basically have every fixed circular needle I have in here, which I think is like 6. I'll just take them out now because then I can fix it afterwards. So there's basically these are all my sleeve or my hat needles. I'll take them out because I should put them back in a more organised way. And then on the right here, I also currently have this. What I'll do is I'll put that on with the rest and then I'll split my needles over those 2 pockets. And then on this side, I have, I believe, my Chow-gu. Yeah, I have a couple. I got Chow-gu needles gift. I got a size 4 gifted at Christmas for my Secret Santa Josie. And I bought a 2.75mm to do my first sweater needle. So that's my little Chow-gu pocket. And then this is going to be a nightmare to show. How do I show this? Okay, this is a really big zip. So this is a zip which runs the entire length, like this, here to here, the zip, and it basically just opens up, like both sides. So this side and this side, so basically this whole back piece becomes a pocket, and I have everything in there. So in there I basically just have all my cords and a couple of stoppers, and they're in like this just dry pocket. Sorry, I'm really not showing this off very well. I should have been very professional and like put my phone on a tripod and then filmed it all in, but I didn't. So yeah, it's missing quite a few needles because they're all in projects. And then it's just like, you just fold it in on itself. And then it just clicks back in place. So I mean, it's only been 2 weeks, so I can't talk about the long-term wear of this, but I love it. I think it's been absolutely amazing. When I go places, I want to take all my needles. So if I go away for like a weekend, I'm taking my whole needle set. So this is perfect. I need to work out what to do about snips because these are the snips I normally use. But obviously, there was a case on the top, and I don't want to put these in as they are because they'll pierce the leather. So I need to work out what to do about scissors or snips or something in here to cut yarn. And otherwise, I love it. It fits everything, big giant pocket. You can sometimes see through it a little bit, so like I put all my cords back into the exact same places so you can kind of see them through the leather, but if it really bothers me then I just rearrange it inside. And this was £70, so I think $69.99. Not inexpensive, still quite a big purchase, but in comparison to the other ones I saw that were £300, not 300, like £200 or £180 plus, and didn't quite fit what I wanted, this was a huge success. So yeah, that's all my acquisitions. Goodness, I just looked at the time and realised that I've been filming for much longer than I thought I'd been filming, which definitely means I have a lot more content. Like this is going to take, so I hope it's not 2 hours, it should be 2 hours. I might cut stuff out if it's 2 hours. Goodness. Yeah, and then life has been good. My last little bit, I guess, life has been good. I know there's a lot going on in the world right now, and I talked about it in my last episode. And I didn't want to put anything at the start of the video because I'm finding that I'm sitting down to watch podcasts having pulled myself away from like doom scrolling on social media, and I think, okay, stop that, relax, go put a podcast on. And then I put a podcast on and someone immediately says, I want to recognise this. And I'm finding that really hard to just like, I'm like, that's what I'm trying to get away from right now. So I'm not mentioned at the start of the video, but I thought that Caroline of Caroline's Knits just spoke about it and about knitting and anxiety in the current like high anxiety world we live in. She talked about that really well, so I'd recommend that. And I also recently watched Lyrica from Fibre Tales, and again, I just really resonated with how she talked about the goings on of the world right now. So two people that I just thought said it better than I could. I'm doing a lot of knitting, I think, because it's, like I say, high anxiety. I just want to sit down and tune out the world in the evenings. Work has been good, it's been really busy. I'm given a lot of autonomy, which is a good thing, but it's also a bit nerve-wracking because I'm worried I'm going to be making mistakes. I've got a little bit of imposter syndrome, which I'm sure I'll get over. I'm joining our Women in Tech community, which I'm really excited about because that's always fun. Especially, I think it'll be good for my confidence at work to talk to other women in tech roles because I mostly just talk to male developers, and that can be, I find myself apologising a lot, or like, I think this instead of just, this is it. Oh, I think maybe, or like, sorry for bringing this up. Like, yeah, that I think will help me to address that a bit better. My boyfriend's parents met my parents last weekend and it went very well. Went off without a hitch. I have 4 siblings at home with my mum and my stepdad. There are 4 there, 3 teenage girls and a 21-year-old boy, 22-year-old boy. Chaos, always screaming. There's never a quiet minute in the house. And my boyfriend's parents, both their kids are, got 2 boys, they're both older. And I just thought like they're going to be overwhelmed by the craziness of my house. But they weren't. Went really well. It was lovely. Probably drank too much wine. Had a bit of a headache the day afterwards, but yeah, better that than anything was awkward. And what else? I think that's about it. I think that's everything. I hope you've had a really nice few weeks. Oh, I've been really like scrunching up. Oh, that feels good. I hope you've had a really nice 2 weeks. I hope you enjoy the next few weeks. I'll hopefully film on the 24th of March is the last day of the Conealong will be the last day that I'm filming. Wishing you great knitting, lots of relaxing and happy crafting, and I'll speak to you next time. Bye!